Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon. I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you here. We are really excited that you can be able to join us. We are happy you are joining us on this journey of making sure that we have resilient communities. I'm called Daisy Owomugasho. I work with the Hunger Project as the regional director in East Africa, and also the country director for Uganda. I am a Right2Grow consortium in Uganda, and I'll be facilitating this session. So you're welcome, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank the Stockholm International Water Institute for organizing this World Water Week, something they have done for several years. This is special for us because we are joining for the first time. And this year's theme is building resilience faster. So to set the stage, we would like to start by showing you a short video, which will provide you with a snapshot of how resilient communities are already. And then after we can go into the rest of the program. So without taking much of your time, let's see the video to have or to set the stage for what we are going to be discussing in this session. Thank you.
Le projet Right2Grow m'a permis de chercher davantage. Avant, je faisais, mais surtout que ça cherchait. Et maintenant, avec le projet Right2Grow, ça m'a permis vraiment de persister, de chercher des services où quand même peuvent m'aider à valoriser mon produit. Là, ça va me permettre de mieux vendre et de vendre beaucoup même.
Bon, je pense que Right2Grow peut beaucoup apporter à la commune de Sauvé dans la mesure où il intervient dans plusieurs secteurs.
Ce que nous on souhaite aussi, c'est peut-être avoir de l'aide quelque part. De l'aide, par exemple, le ministère peut en tout cas, le ministère de l'eau peut en tout cas venir forer, n'est-ce pas, des forages dans les différents quartiers. Voilà, en ce moment, vraiment, c'est vrai que la population suffisamment.
Bon, avec le projet Right2Grow, bon, nous pensons que bon, il peut nous aider à faire des plaidoyers, et surtout au niveau des mairies, pour que le maire aussi et ses conseillers aussi puissent vraiment intégrer le problème d'eau là dans leur PDC pour essayer de voir comment ils peuvent faire pour avoir des financements. Pour faire des fourrages, on peut faire des fourrages pour la population et plus des activités que l'ONIA aussi mène pour qu'on puisse avoir du vin, bon, pour que ça marche. Ce qu'on aurait souhaité, c'est on veut faire vraiment l'appel au gouvernement avec les projets qui interviennent dans le domaine de l'eau là, pour qu'ils soutiennent l'ONIA, pour qu'on puisse vraiment avoir assez d'eau pour approvisionner la population.
Mais l'eau, c'est fondamental dans la vie. L'eau, c'est la vie.
Wow, welcome back. from that interesting video shot in Burkina, and which shows you what the communities are doing and their expectations. So today, let me now go back to what we'll be showcasing today and talk about the Right to Grow program. From even the short video, that short introduction, we realized that getting to zero undernutrition and zero people without access to basic wash services requires a people-centered and community-led approach with the stronger emphasis on the most vulnerable and difficult to reach. So the Right to Grow program is a strategic partnership between Action Against Hunger, the Center for Economic Governance and Accountability in Africa, Max Foundation, Save the Children, the Hunger Project, and World Vision. Within the Right to Grow program, we also partner with the local civil society organizations and community-based organizations. These are organizations that are closer to communities and reach almost everyone. We therefore believe that the Right to Grow program will bridge the gap between these powerful women, men, and children, the leaders, the tech experts, and the technocrats who seek to support them. With this in mind, and with the support, with the funding from the Dutch government, the civil society strengthening power of voices, the Right to Grow program will collaborate with the communities, community-based organizations, and civil society organizations in Bangladesh, Burkina Faso, Ethiopia, Mali, South Sudan, and Uganda. This project started this year in 2021 and will run up to 2025. Our multidisciplinary panel will showcase you how sustainable progress can be achieved by strengthening local communities and building social sector partnerships that connect the local to the global level. We present a people-centered approach that brings in and amplifies local voices in national and global dialogues. So this session will challenge you to look at water and food security through another lens. What is the game-changing potential of putting communities in the lead to instigate and achieve long-lasting change at the global level? The Right to Grow invites you to join us in exploring challenges and opportunities so that together we can build resilience faster. What we all know is that communities are actually very resilient. This is how they have managed to reach this far. They have survived through very difficult and sometimes challenging situations. Ours and any other interventions should be aimed at supporting and strengthening these efforts so far. This is what the Right to Grow program is all about: supporting and strengthening communities to be more resilient. Communities should be and are at the core of our interventions. So this session will look at this resilience and how we can support in several aspects. First, we will have the Right to Grow WASH experts, Giovanna Dodos and Kawasa Alome, who have joined us to take you along our journey, and we'll explain our theory of change to you. Then after this year of change will be brought to life by a panel of 4 Right2Grow colleagues who are present to tell you more about their work in the partnership and how the partnership can help them in moving forward in achieving their goals, that is improving livelihoods and building resilience. The panel will exist in 2 parts. First of all, we'll hear from them, and then we'll break out in rooms. So the panelists will present their work, and we'll have further questions and discussions in the breakout rooms, which I believe you'll find most interesting. So, but before we give the floor now to our Right2Grow colleagues and the panel pitches, we'll hear from Mr. Mustafizur Rahman from Bangladesh government, who will speak about Bangladesh policies on increasing food security and how to engage with NGOs from government's point of view. With this, I just want to give or say some, maybe some rules or some guidelines here. We are really looking forward to connecting with you and hearing from you. However, please keep in mind that that we have limited time. Ensure your contribution is brief and to the point. And if you have any other comments or questions or other issues, you can put this at the Pathable platform. That is where you joined the meeting. There's a chat box there. This chat box is not available for the moment, so we'll have to put all our comments or questions on the chat box in the Pathable platform. This session has translation for French, so we'll be having translation. I hope you have also got this beforehand, but there will be no translation in the breakout rooms. So without taking much more time, I would like now to call upon Giovanna Dodos and Kawasa Alome to take us or to take you along the Right2Grow's journey to build a locally led global movement that puts these affected communities at its center. We'll start with Giovanna.
Thank you,
Giovanna.
Daisy. Thank you, Daisy,
Yes.
for this very nice introduction. I was very happy to see such an inspiring video from Burkina Faso. Thanks to colleague from Burkina Faso for producing such a nice video. Once again, my name is Giovanna Dodos. I work as a program coordinator for ACF International. I'm also mutual capacity development lead within the Right2Grow consortium. It is a great pleasure to be here with you today to talk about Right2Grow theory of change and to take you through our, actually to start the journey of Right2Grow with my very short presentation. Daisy, at the beginning of this session, already mentioned a couple of key aspects of our Right2Grow program. So once again, I just want to repeat some of the key features, and that is that Right2Grow is a 5-year program funded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Netherlands through the civil society strengthening grant instrument that is called Power of Voices Partnership. We will be working with a budget of 44 million euros for the next 5 years, so starting with this year 2021 until 2025 in 6 program countries, and we are 6 global partners. But what is actually more or the most important in this program is that Right2Grow is supported by over 20 local civil society organizations that are not only the implementing partners of Right2Grow, but are in the driver's seat and actually guide the implementation of the program in their countries. Next slide, please. So trying to answer the question, why Right2Grow? I think that today the fact is well known. our world is off the track in achieving sustainable development goals, especially SDG 2 on zero hunger, as well as SDG 6 on clean water and sanitation. We are facing insufficient progress in tackling malnutrition in all its forms. So millions of children under 5 are still affected, and the COVID-19 pandemic will most likely aggravate this situation. If the progress is not speed up by 4 times, billions of people will lack access to safe drinking water, sanitation, and hygiene by 2030. So the critical prerequisite for ensuring good nutritional status will not be achieved. So in addition to insufficient progress in getting to zero undernutrition and zero people without access to basic wash services, Right2Grow also identified a couple of other issues that we actually aim to tackle through this program, such as the fact that poor and marginalized populations and women are and will be disproportionately affected by wash nutrition issues. The fact that in all our program countries, we see promising policy agendas, but ineffective implementation. We see national ministries that are actually accustomed to work in silos, while joint collaboration, engagement, and multi-sectoral approach are required. There is also weak participation of civil society and decision-making, and strong focus of the civil society on the service provision, while there is a lack of focus on actually monitoring the coverage, quality, access, inclusiveness, and budgeting of government services, resulting, of course, in a weak transparency and accountability, and also disconnect between international, national, and local civil society. So in all our countries, we just witnessed the fact that the national policy dialogues often lack in-depth knowledge and evidence of local realities, resulting in policies and budget allocations that usually do not meet the needs of the most vulnerable. And last but not the least, there is an urgent need to adapt to emerging challenges such as COVID-19 pandemic and climate change. Next slide, please. So as the Right2Grow movement, we have an inspiration and desire to tackle all of these challenges. I can see a calendar on the screen. Can you just close it, please, Maren? Thank you. So we have an inspiration to tackle all of these identified challenges through a locally driven agenda that has 4 key pathways that should lead to 4 outcomes. So this is basically the theory of change of Right2Grow, and these 4 key pathways are what we want to achieve or aspire to achieve in the next 5 years. So pathway number 1 is about communities, community empowerment and mobilization around claiming their rights and gaining the access to basic wash and nutrition services. Pathway number 2 is about civil society, strengthening the capacity, the legitimacy, and the representativeness of civil society organizations. Pathway number 3 is about engaging with public authorities, the key piece of the puzzle. This work cannot be achieved without the strong presence and engagement of local and national governments. So we want to engage with the public authorities to promote multi-sectoral approach to nutrition and wash, as well as participation in decision-making, inclusiveness, and accountability. And last but not the least, I would say maybe equally important, global advocacy and lobbying international development actors towards financing and achieving sustainable development goals, especially those related to zero hunger, gender equality, and clean water and sanitation. Next slide, please. So considering these 4 key pathways that Right2Grow will be working on, and zooming into proposed intervention of building blocks of Right2Grow, I would like to take this opportunity to share with you a couple of highlights when it comes to proposed interventions that we are planning to implement in all 6 program countries. Starting with harnessing the power of local communities for change at all levels, then to changes in the mindsets and behaviors from the household up to the state, through a mutual capacity development that will be basically based on a jointly shaped, locally driven learning agenda, applying people-centered and community-led approaches, strengthening 4 civil society roles, namely educational, representational, communicative, and collaborative, and equally important, mainstreaming gender sensitive and gender transformative approaches and ensuring inclusiveness in all the work that we will do in the communities. So this was a very short introduction from my side. Now I would like to give a floor to my colleague Kausar Alome, who is the WASH head of department in ACF country office in Bangladesh, to talk about the contextualization of Right2Grow in the program countries, adaptation to country social, cultural, and socioeconomic realities, and also to highlight the key WASH aspect in this program. Thank you very much for your attention.
So thank you, Giovanna, and thank you, Deji, for your great presentation. And actually, Giovanna, you already covered lots of things. So I just like to add some of the point, like as you suggested, or as it is actually the adaptation in the Bangladesh. So first of all, I like to say that, like in this project together with the Max Foundation in Bangladesh, we are. I am just providing some of the technical support to make the bridge between the local community and the government authority, respective government authority. So one of the good thing is that in Bangladesh, there is a lots of documents, there is a lots of policy in the government level, but actually it is not available in the ground level. So we are trying to make this bridge between this government to improve the current situation of the or scenario of this the community, targeted community, for the better outputs of this projects. So on of the going for the adaptation, I like to say that the increase the cooperation that we said, that is actually the data sharing and the p-learning that will help a lot to harmonizing the data sharing between the community, and that will increase the access of the community level. To boost up these things, we like to sum up the formation or the identify of the CSO, the civil society organization. So I like to say that even in the ground level, there is some civil society organization in the community level, union level, upazila level. But actually they do not have the proper access or how they like to work, or which way they like to work with the government. This is actually the poor knowledge of the CSO. So that part we will work as well. We actually like to extend the reference linkage of MCHN, that is maternal child health and the nutrition, and between the primary and secondary level service. So that will also helps to increase the accessibility of the community level to the government level. We like to go to the grassroots consultation to identify the grassroots advocacy issue. So thing is that actually we have the issue in the ground level, but most of the cases it is not available that what we need to focus or how we can focus. Even they know that this is the problem, but they don't know what is actually the causes. So we are trying to find out this issue, that what actually the causes and how we like to identify together with the community level, listening to the community level, then how we can make it or we come a common platform, that this is the platform where we can do the advocacy and try to make this advocacy in line with the government existing policy. We are not trying to change everything, but there is a lots of scope, lots of the option where we can put our input to enrich the existing documents of the government. So this advocacy we are going to do in the local level and also in the national level together with the other the consortium partners to improve the situation. So like how we can do this thing. So first thing is that we need to know the situation of the community, know the situation of the like how we can work to the community. After listening to the community, then we will go to the private sector, like how we can access the private sector related to the WASH, related to the ministerial hygiene, nutrition, who actually work in this sector. Even we are trying to find out some natural leaders or the organization who like to put their input in this social work. So we will make the bridge between them. Yeah, so next slide, please. So for these things, we are going to do the stakeholder analysis, like who can be our part from the side of the government, UN, the civil society, academia, which media, donor, international development actors, which private sector, the economic platform, the community. We will work all of these groups of the stakeholder. We try to point out the roles and responsibility. So this is actually, we try to the key points of the roles and responsibility. Of course, this going to be boosted up on the basis of the discussion with the different stakeholders. And then we can find out the more better way how we can make the line or bridge between these different stakeholders for the better outputs of this program. And as Giovanna said, to reach the SDC goal 2.5, 2, 5, and 6 actually. So next slide, please. So like the contextualization, what we are to the main perception is that through the analyzing root cause of our inability to get this number to the 0. So as I said before, the problem is there. We know some of the causes, but we do not know the what is actually the root causes. If we can minimize these root causes, identify the root causes, then it will be easy to reach the target to the 0, the number to the 0. So we will focus on the sparking and amplifying the voice of the community, as without knowing the community, without knowing their problem, we can't do the advocate, we can't solve the problem. So ultimate result is we can't reach our goal. We will advise the leading local and the global organization who actually work on the nutrition, wash, and the community development. So as I said before, we are going to make them together, how we can reach and for the better output. As I said, there is some civil society organization already exist in the community level, but maybe they do not have the scope or space to go to the respective government body, right person or right place. So we will utilize their current skill as well as to form the new civil society organization. Then we will through the training, we will just scale up their current capacity, how they will get the more access. To make this business, because target is that they will be the independent, they will raise their voice, they will identify their own problem, and they will identify how to overcome their current problem. So to expand these things, one of these things we like to go the linkage between the local enterprise and the micro enterprise with the different sectors. With the private, the organizations, through the meeting, through the workshop, and also the business fair. So that will help to, elaborate their, what can I say, like idea, the production that they are going to do. So the business purpose. So that will also help them to earn their money and try to make them independent. So for the equitable and sustainable access to the clean or drinking water, we will work on the 3 levels, and that is the water point, water service, and the water sector. So we will work on this actually. That actually help to reducing the undernutrition. The final goal is to reduce the undernutrition. So next slide, please.
And okay, we are running out of time. If you could please be fast.
Yeah, so this is the last slide actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so for this key wash aspect, I just like to say that through this project, we would like to empower and sustainable changes of the community to fight the challenges actually they are facing. So we are doing lots of awareness session, formation, the linkage between the MCH and the others government body, campaigning, capacity building, and make the bridge of the different private sector and the community level. So the communication strategy that actually we are going to develop or modify through the web platform. So that's all from my side. So thanks all of you. So if you have any question, please let us know. I will try my best to explain.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kawaza. And if you have any comments or questions, like I said, please put them in the chat box in the Pathable. Next, we'll have a contribution from Mr. Rahman to give us some perspectives and insights from Bangladesh government. He is the line director for the National Nutrition Services in the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Mr. Rahman, you're welcome. And please
hello,
also
madam. What is my time? What is the time?
Time, you have about 7 minutes.
7 minutes. Okay. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. The next slide. Okay. Basically, you see, I want to. I'll not go by slide. That will even disturb my time. They can take off my slide because basically Bangladesh is working. Please take the slide from here. I want to talk fluently from my memory. Basically, Bangladesh is suffering from different types of malnutrition, and that different types is 3 types. One is the undernutrition, one is the macronutrient deficiency, another one very recent for the last 2 decades. These are overweight or overnutrition. So obesity is also here in Bangladesh. So basically, what I'll talk about the nutrition under Ministry of the Health and Family Welfare, and I'm not going to talk about the food production, poultry production, and other production. And I'm not going to talk too much about the fortification and enrichment of the food. That is the issues of the other ministries. My issues are basically macronutrient deficiency, and common macronutrient deficiencies are in Bangladesh, basically iron deficiency, iodine deficiency, zinc deficiency, vitamin D deficiency, even multiple macronutrient deficiency. So the government usually keep the eyes on this type of deficiency, because if we can supplement 1 or twice in a week, in a year, we can cover almost 22 million children under 5. For example, we are running a show with the vitamin A plus caffeine, and that is successful in Bangladesh over 4 decades. Basically, in one time it was 4 in a per 100 night blindness, but now it is not that. So we had another program, that is the iodization of the salt, and that is also a successful program. We are running almost throughout the country. We are running this program, and though main function here is Ministry of the Industries through the fortification, but our function is very clear. We are working for the behavioral change communication, and those who are coming to the hospital or any medical outdoor, we are talking about this one through interpersonal communication. Even we usually do some BCC activities through our digital media as well. And we are providing training, comprehensive competency training for nutrition to all our health service providers, so that they can talk to the pregnant mother or lactating mother or adolescents according to the age group. We usually target all the age group of the life. It starts with the first golden 1,000 days, then under 5 children, that it goes to the second golden 1,000 days, which we usually call the teenage, late teenage, before getting the pregnancy, and pregnant and lactating women. We also take care of all these target group. Nowadays in Bangladesh, life expectancy is 73 years. So we have to take care about the elderly nutrition as well. So we are taking care of all these things. And if we talk about the infant and young child feeding, exclusive breastfeeding at this moment is 65%, but on the other side of the coin, it is dark, because minimum acceptable diet is around 30%. So we should cover those things. Policy issue in Bangladesh is basically Bangladesh started its first constitution after the independent. In 71 we got the independence, 72 we got the constitution. It is incorporated in the constitution. The nutrition issues of the population is the responsibility of the country, so it should be treated as like this. And after that we have our first food and nutrition policy in 1997. Then we have our food policy in 2006, and we have our nutrition policy in 2013, and have our national plan of action for nutrition and country investment plan and other things. So everything is in place, even IOIC policy, macronutrient policy, all relevant policies are there, all relevant policies are in functioning. And BMS code, breast milk substitute code, is also very updated in our country. So what we are facing now, but urbanization is a rapid situation in Bangladesh. So at this moment, 39.6% population are staying in the urban, and our service is fantastic in the rural area, but in urban, as the local government system here is not that much sound, so it depends on the central government. So we have to have one plan so that we can maintain the level of the rural service of the nutrition, okay. In the urban also, in urban the service level is not that much good, even population density and other things. In recent COVID pandemic, we have seen this management in the urban area is really tough. If we go for vaccination, if we go for others in this area, that is, so we are trying to make a good plan for the urban nutrition through our existing tertiary hospital, secondary hospital, even the community-based hospital. So our main target on the basis, we have set all these things on the basis of the SDG for 2030, the World Health Assembly target 2025, and our national target was 2022, the operation plan, what I am working, National Nutrition Services. So the modality of the work of this National Nutrition Services is working within the ministry, that is called the nutrition specific, working with other ministries, that is one is called the nutrition sensitive, for example, water and sanitation, and working with other multi-sector issues, strengthening of the Bangladesh National Nutrition Council, and good bondage with the relevant 22 ministries. So these are the work we are doing now, and we are always following the global as well as the regional policy and our status, where to develop, where to compensate. For example, during the pandemic, like other countries of the whole world, Bangladesh also a sufferer. So our income in different level decreased. So people are a bit in bad condition than the 2019. So we are also taking care of those things, because it is very important to have the right income, so that without income, without food security, if we only talk about the food safety, that is also good. But we need food safety with secured food and our healthy lifestyle. So these are just very small outline of my presentation. I think I have taken more than 5 minutes. If you are kind enough, you can allow me, or I think this is over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rahman. That gives us a clear outline or presentation on how government is working, how the government in Bangladesh is working. Now, without taking much more time, we'll now go to our panelists on the Right2Grow program. And we have first Mr. Nanla Ndovu, who will take us through money and budgets. Nanla works with the SEGA in trying to promote good economic governance, budget transparency, and accountability. So, Mr. Nanla, you're welcome. And in the interest of time, we have 3 minutes for each of the panelists to enable us be able to be back on time. So thank you Mr. Nanla, you're welcome.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Dr. Daisy. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you so much. It's very nice to meet everybody. I'm just going to talk about the role of budget advocacy in the Right2Grow program. So basically trying to figure out was it important for Right2Grow to also include budgeting in its approach. So as we all know, there are quite a lot of issues around malnutrition and poor wash services in many African countries, including Ethiopia, which will have or which will give us some examples when we get to the breakaway group. So these issues need to be addressed, and we know that government is mandated to respond to issues like this by developing proper policies. But once the policies are developed, then those policies need to be funded so that the policies can be implemented. As we all know, that policies on paper are meaningless until sufficient resources are allocated for them to be implemented. So what we have seen in many settings is that there is insufficient or no transparency on nutrition and wash resource allocation, which basically blocks citizens from engaging with the budget process, which then also makes it impossible to get accountability from the duty bearers, basically meaning the public servants. So we in this program, we want to ensure that there is translation of policy into practice by tracking resources, and also where resources are not sufficient, by giving communities the voice to raise their concerns and to demand a share in the public purse where they can actually tap into, so that finances are allocated for wash and nutrition services. So with this program, Right2Grow seeks to increase civil society influence by promoting public participation in the budget process. But then also we want to increase civil society involvement in tracking of actual expenditure and impact, because it is one thing to talk about the budget and say we want to have a budget, but what if the budget is not implemented? So basically the program also seeks to build the capacity of communities to track actual expenditures so that we can see the impact of all the resources that are being allocated and used. But at the end of the day, we would like to see improvements in how the money is spent, because we want to see results. We want to see the change in the community. So as I started by saying, there are some issues on malnutrition and poor wash services. Those issues need to be addressed. Then how can the budget be used to address those issues? So we also want to see increases in the budget itself, because the budget needs to be progressive. So we need to see increases from year to year, as we know that community needs are increasing. So basically we want the budget to keep up with the community needs. So this is very important, that communities are in touch with what is happening, and they also make their views heard on an ongoing basis. But then we also know that this takes quite a lot of time, because it is hard to change or to improve policy overnight. So enough time needs to be invested in this, but also there needs to be enough resources to sustain this effort. So basically that's why we are calling everybody to support the call for better public financing of nutrition and wash policies and strategies in the countries where we work, but also globally in other settings. Thank you so much.
Thank you, NN Nanla. I think you can see how we are trying to improve budgets. We are talking budget and money, and I think that was clearly on point. Yeah, some people are clapping, NN, so thank you. Next we go to Helena. Helena is the Deputy Executive Director and Policy Advocacy and Partnership Coordinator for Community Integrated Development Initiatives in an organization in Uganda. So Helena, you're welcome. She's also part of the local organizations we work with in the Right2Grow program. Helena, you're welcome.
Thank you, Daisy. Good afternoon, everyone. My name has been mentioned. I'm Helena Kaswija, and I work with CIDI. CIDI is a local organization, local in the sense that it's an indigenous organization found and working in Uganda. And we are operating in various districts, about 28 districts. And we envision communities enjoying a decent life free of hunger, poverty, and disease. And we use an integrated approach where we want to address the key issues that face the household at that level. So we work round about issues of water, sanitation and hygiene, agriculture and improved livelihoods, food security and nutrition, as well as health promotion. But we also take into consideration cross-cutting issues. So we also do policy advocacy. Next slide, please. So in the Right2Grow consortium, we are a local partner that is actually leading on the WASH component, but also we bring on to the Right2Grow group the issue of the local realities, because we do much of our work focusing on community engagement. So we bring to this consortium key aspects. And in this consortium, today why we are discussing that if we are going to change, if we want to go to zero, if we want to leave no one behind, then the issues of the local communities must matter. So we want to bring to the forefront issues that are affecting the communities. Basically, we are highlighting that we need to focus on a community-centric approach where we want to see concerted effort, coordinated effort, bringing to forth action by the communities. We all know that WASH and nutrition is underpinned by socioeconomic status. Therefore, issues of culture norms, issues of capacity and abilities of the communities, issues of where they are found is going to be very critical. So in this consortium, we are using a multi-pronged approach, and we also, in terms of water, sanitation, and hygiene, we prioritize issues of community-led total sanitation, where the community is at the forefront in improving their sanitation. But we also promote baby wash, meaning that we are looking at the continuum of health as it is. Therefore, we want to ensure that mothers can be able to access good water facilities, good sanitation before their mothers, after their mothers, and when they have the young ones, specifically for the first 1,000 days. We also, why do the communities, local communities matters? Why do we ensure that these local realities matter? Because we know that the communities know the issues that affect them, so they are better positioned to voice them. And therefore, in the interest of the rights-based approach, it's important that the communities are at the center. But also, there's a new aspect as we are dealing with shocks of climate change, shocks of COVID-19. If you're going to build resilience, then we must work with the community. The communities must be at the center. And in the interest of what Nadla was talking about, if you're going to make sure that the finances work, the finances are effectively and efficiently used, then the people, the communities must be at the forefront of identifying where these resources should go. And also, lastly, is that like Bangladesh has talked about, everyone has talked about, we have these policies. How do we bring them to practice? How do we bridge the realities of the communities and the policy frameworks that we have as countries? So as CIDI, with partners within the Right2Grow, these are the aspects that are very critical to make sure that the communities are at the center of what we do. Next slide.
Okay. Need to wrap
yes.
it up. Yes.
Yeah, so I was just saying that we are not operating in a silo. The communities are not actually operating in the silos. The communities are working in an entire ecosystem where we have the duty bearers, where we have the private sector, and therefore actors like CIDI provide the engagement channels where these people can be able to speak to each other and enrich the experiences for better health and nutrition outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you, Helena. That was one area in Uganda, one example, one case study in Uganda. Thank you so much. Now we go to Adam Diko, and he'll be talking to us on why the youth should always have a seat at the table. Diko is a director at the of the association, the Youth Association for Active Citizenship and Democracy. So, Mr. Diko, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you so much. Bonjour à tous. Désolée, je vais faire ma présentation en français. C'est bon, je peux commencer?
Oui, allez-y, ça va.
Ok, merci beaucoup. Alors, moi, je suis la directrice de l'AGICAD, comme vous l'avez si bien dit, et l'AGICAD est partenaire de mise en œuvre de Right2Grow. Donc, moi, je vais vous parler brièvement de l'importance d'associer les jeunes en tant que partie prenante et en tant que partenaire de mise en œuvre des programmes, mais aussi même au niveau de l'État par rapport aux questions de WASH. Alors, j'ai mis cette image-là pour montrer un peu la pertinence de connecter l'accès. Il y a des micros qui sont allumés, désolé. Donc, l'accès aux services de WASH et la lutte contre le COVID. Pourquoi? Parce que depuis un certain temps, on parle plus de protection des citoyens contre le COVID-19. On parle plus d'accès à des services, notamment des kits de lavage de mains ou autres par rapport à la lutte. Mais on oublie que la véritable prévention la modération, je pense qu'il y a beaucoup de bruit, il y a des micros qui sont allumés. Donc, la véritable prévention contre la maladie de coronavirus, c'est vraiment d'abord commencer avec l'accès des questions de WASH, notamment de l'eau. Donc, la meilleure manière de protéger les jeunes contre la pandémie de coronavirus, c'est d'abord que les jeunes aient accès à l'eau potable. Parce que nous avons vu que dans certaines couches vulnérables, les gens n'ont pas accès à l'eau potable. À plus forte raison, c'est laver les mains régulièrement. Donc, nous avons trouvé opportun aujourd'hui d'utiliser la pandémie de coronavirus pour mener un plaidoyer au niveau mondial, mais aussi au niveau national, pour que l'accessibilité à l'eau puisse devenir une priorité mondiale, pour que nous puissions le prendre comme un moyen de prévention contre le COVID-19 et dire qu'on ne pourra jamais arriver à lutter efficacement contre le COVID-19 sans pour autant assurer l'accès à l'eau potable, l'accès aux services de WASH. On continue. Next slide. Voilà, donc pour permettre aux jeunes vraiment d'être actifs et aussi de les associer dans les instances de prise de décision, AGICAD, à travers le programme Right2Grow, va créer des espaces d'échange, mais aussi de sensibilisation à l'endroit des jeunes, mais aussi des messages de plaidoyer à l'endroit des autorités pour la prise en compte des questions de WASH dans les politiques publiques, mais pas uniquement la prise en compte de ces questions, mais la prise en compte même de la dimension jeunesse, de la dimension enfance par rapport à ces questions. Très souvent, quand on parle des questions de WASH dans les programmes, les jeunes et les enfants ne sont pas là. Donc aujourd'hui, il est important que les jeunes et les enfants soient associés à ces programmes de développement, à ces programmes qui vont être là pour nous. Donc, nous ne voulons plus être seulement des bénéficiaires de ces politiques, nous voulons vraiment être aujourd'hui des acteurs de ces politiques-là. Donc, d'où la pertinence pour AGICAD de mener ces actions de plaidoyer, en même temps l'accessibilité aussi de l'information par les jeunes. Donc, il est important que les questions de WASH puissent devenir une question beaucoup plus centrale. Très bientôt, le Mali s'apprête à aller vers des réformes qui vont toucher la Constitution, qui vont toucher d'autres secteurs. Et nous organisons les jeunes afin que les questions de WASH puissent venir parmi les priorités de ces réformes-là. Et lors des élections, les jeunes vont s'organiser aussi pour que les candidats puissent prendre en compte les questions de WASH comme une priorité pour les jeunes. Les priorités pour les jeunes ne se limitent pas seulement à avoir des terrains de foot ou à avoir des emplois décents, mais les priorités pour les jeunes aussi commencent par l'accessibilité aux services vitaux qui sont l'eau, la santé, l'hygiène. Donc, du coup, c'est vraiment ça le plaidoyer que AGICAD va mener dans le cadre de Right2Grow et dans le cadre d'autres programmes pour que, enfin, les questions de WASH, on puisse l'associer à la problématique des jeunesses et associer les jeunes à la table de discussion en tant que partie prenante, pas uniquement en tant que bénéficiaire. Oui. Merci. Merci.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope you remembered to turn on your translation if you are not familiar with French. Now we'll go to our last panelist before we go to the breakout rooms. And we have Batile, who is going to speak on empowering communities. Batile is a communication and advocacy officer at the Rural World Association. Batile, you're welcome. And please be mindful of the time. We are running late.
Ok, bonjour tout le monde.
Batile, you are welcome.
Ok, merci bien. Je suis Bertie Zungrana. Je suis chargée de communication et de plaidoyer à l'Association Monde Rural. Aujourd'hui, j'ai l'honneur de vous présenter la vision et les actions de l'Association Monde Rural dans le domaine de la santé, nutrition et du WASH. Alors, au Burkina Faso, l'accès à l'eau potable, l'hygiène et l'assainissement est un problème assez chronique. Et seuls 48% de la population a accès à l'eau potable en milieu rural et seuls 19% des ménages ont accès à des services d'assainissement. Alors, 11% ont accès aux services d'hygiène améliorés et 47% de la population continue de déféquer à l'air libre. Il faut dire que cette situation s'est aggravée avec les attaques terroristes qui ont entraîné le déplacement massif des populations des campagnes vers la ville. Alors, l'eau étant devenue une ressource rare, les populations sont contraintes de diminuer drastiquement leur consommation, occasionnant ainsi des maladies diarrhéiques et le décès des enfants de moins de 5 ans. Et au Burkina Faso, environ 45% des décès de moins de 5 ans sont dus à la malnutrition. Pour faire face à ces défis, l'Association Monde Rural, qui a pour vision de parvenir à un monde rural qui connaît ses droits, qui travaille à leur effectivité et qui participe au développement local, a offert des puits aux femmes pour les activités maraîchères. L'Association Monde Rural a aussi accompagné des communautés dans la construction des maisons modèles et des toilettes pour limiter la défécation à l'air libre et aussi éviter la promiscuité entre les hommes et les animaux. Aussi, nous avons aussi procédé à l'initiation à la pratique de préparation de la bouillie enrichie à base de produits locaux au profit des relais communautaires. Et pour terminer, je dirais que en termes d'action, au-delà de ces actions, l'Association Monde Rural répond aux besoins des populations à la base, en octroyant des crédits aux femmes. Et aussi, nous avons remarqué qu'au niveau des points d'eau, et les populations, il y a souvent des querelles autour des points d'eau. Et cette situation ne favorise pas la cohésion sociale. Face à cela, l'Association Monde Rural a initié des actions de renforcement, de promotion des valeurs de la cohésion sociale. Alors, pour l'AMR, Anger Project, Save et Children, Action contre la faim, SEGA, et Resolute qui forment le consortium Right2Grow au niveau du Burkina Faso. Et pour nous, Right2Grow est une opportunité pour nous en tant qu'OSC, car ce projet va permettre de nous renforcer nos capacités pour mener à bien des plaidoyers et des suivis budgétaires pour changer la vie des populations. Alors, je vais terminer avec des photos. Des photos, s'il vous plaît. Voilà. Si vous pouvez voir à gauche une maman qui est en train de nourrir son enfant avec la bouillie enrichie, voilà, à base de produits locaux. Et aussi, vous voyez au niveau à droite, une dame qui est en train de stocker l'eau dans des bidons, voilà, pour faire face aux coupures d'eau. Next. Voilà, ici, vous avez un enfant à gauche qui est en train de déféquer à l'air libre. Nous avons déjà parlé de ça un peu plus haut. Et à droite, nous avons une maison modèle. Une maison modèle, c'est une maison qui a, comment on appelle ça, qui a mis à la disposition de la famille des toilettes et aussi un dispositif de lave-mains, et aussi qui a trouvé de l'espace pour les animaux, pour ne pas que les animaux cohabitent avec les hommes. Alors, merci beaucoup. Bonne suite. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Batira. Yes, that is Burkina Faso, and you had, I think you had also seen the clip, the video clip we started with was from Burkina Faso. So there we have had more information about Burkina. All heard from our panelists. Now we'll go into our breakout rooms. We had thought we'll get maybe 30 minutes or so, but now we have about 58 for exchange. We are going to have, you can choose whichever group you want to be in. We'll be having 3 groups. We have 15 minutes to see what message getting, what challenges do we have, and yeah, there is not going to be any translation available in the breakout rooms. So without much ado, I'm going to ask our support person to provide for us the breakout sessions. We'll have 15 minutes, and I suppose I have questions. So we'll break out and see what are the challenges we have there. What are the solutions we see getting to be able to get resilient communities. Please get somebody to write for you or to record whatever the group is talking about, and then we'll come and wrap up in about 5 minutes. So the breakout sessions, please indicate or give us the breakout sessions. Now I would like to invite again the panelists to make maybe a 1-minute wrap-up session on their takeaways from this session, and possibly we can also have to do the conclusion. If we have time, maybe we can get a question or so, maybe from the people, but let's have the 1 minute from the panelists on their take from their group discussions. So I think from now I'm going to start, I think backwards. I'll start with Batira, then go to Diko and Helen and Nanla in that order. 1 minute. Batira, please. Or Anat, if you were.
Yes.
Batira?
If you like, I can. Oh yeah, I think Bertie has opened her microphone. Just for information, we've joined the group of Adam and Bertie together to get all of the French speakers together. So we were in the same group. Bertie, si tu veux partager, je t'invite.
Je n'entends pas très bien. Là, tu peux répondre, s'il te plaît?
Oui, bien sûr.
Okay.
Si tu as un message de notre discussion dans la salle de réunion que tu veux partager en plénière, tu peux le faire. Sinon, je peux aller dans mes notes aussi.
Ok, c'est vrai qu'on n'a pas eu suffisamment de temps pour échanger. Voilà, mais ce que je peux noter, c'est que la condition, disons, nous allons impliquer les jeunes et aussi les femmes dans Allô? Allô?
Oui, oui, on t'entend.
Ok.
Merci.
Donc, je disais que dans la salle de réunion, nous avons échangé sur l'implication des jeunes. Aussi, nous avons parlé aussi de la question du plaidoyer, voilà, pour l'accès à l'eau et aussi le fait que la société civile puisse en tout cas lutter pour que les politiques puissent intégrer la question du WASH dans leurs actions. Je pense que c'est tout ce que j'ai pu noter. Je ne sais pas si Anna a autre chose à ajouter.
Merci Bertie. Adam, est-ce que tu voudrais ajouter sur ce que Bertie a dit?
Oui, je pense que c'était très intéressant la discussion dans le groupe. Malheureusement, on n'a pas eu beaucoup de temps, mais c'était bien, surtout les questions. Ça m'a permis d'aller plus en profondeur des actions de plaidoyer que nous faisons et tout. Voilà, je pense que tu peux aussi rentrer dans tes notes, faire ressortir, vu que je parlais seulement, j'ai trop parlé. Merci.
Thank you, Adam. Now we'll go to Helena.
Yes, the key takeaways from the discussion that we had was that we have spaces that are coming up, like for instance, the food systems, the UN food systems. We could use this opportunity to amplify the voices of the ordinary women and men from the grassroots. So basically the discussion was saying that the men and women at the grassroots need to have a place at the table to be able to tell their story without anybody else telling their story. Then there is the issue of the fact that we have best practices there, that even basics, as we're talking about, doing advocacy, what the communities are able to do in terms of the resources, in terms of utilizing the resources they have is very critical, but also we must provide strategic deliverables for communities that may lack. There's the issue of awareness building, that we need to create a critical mass that is going to be able to highlight the issues in terms of nutrition and water, and show, for instance, value for water for the private sector. And lastly, the issue of multi-stakeholder and multi-sectoral engagements, as well as providing information there to enable communities be prepared for any shocks that they may come as we are trying to build their resilience.
Thank you, Helena. And we'll have the 1 minute from Nandla.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Daisy. In our group, we had quite good examples, or maybe excellent examples, from Ethiopia, Uganda, and Bangladesh. And we learned that people are aware of the role of budget advocacy to bring about the change that people desire on nutrition and WASH services. But then there is a realization that civil society organizations are not actively engaging on budget monitoring, which then means there is no evidence to use to actually push for accountability. So in this group, we discussed that we need to sensitize civil society organizations, but then after sensitization, we then need to build their capacity to engage with the budget processes. mainly because there are platforms and systems in place that people should take advantage of, but they don't know about those platforms. So we need to ensure that people are made aware of these, people are given the skills, and then people can then engage. But then in terms of how to ensure there is a win-win situation between civil society and government with regard to budget advocacy, we also had some examples again from Ethiopia that it also helps to develop a memorandum of understanding between both parties to make sure there is a common understanding of the objectives, and then both parties know what their roles and responsibilities are. And if there is that kind of agreement between the two parties, then it makes it easy to collaborate and work for the desired change. So yeah, in short, that's what we discussed in the group.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, our panelists. Thank you so much, our viewers. And I hope and believe that we've had a wonderful discussion. We've picked so many lessons. We've picked so many ways in which we can move forward. Unfortunately, we were given a short time, so we can't go into question and answer, but we would like still to hear from you, your views. You can still input in the chat box, or you can also send your comments or questions or contributions to the emails. Get in touch with an email. We have the speakers' emails on the screen. Get in touch with them or send your comments, and we'll be able to compile what we've picked from this session. So thank you so much once again. Thank you so much, our panelists. Thank you so much, Mr. Rahman from Bangladesh. It was a pleasure having each and every one of you here, and we look forward to making resilient communities much faster than how we are now. So thank you so much, and I'll take this opportunity to close the session. You can unmute and say bye or something like that, but thank you so much for being with us all this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yes, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Merci à tous et à bientôt.
Merci à tous. À bientôt.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.